Washington. The Commanders have had 16 drives of the last 2 games that have not punted a single time.
Crazy.
They're the 4th team in the Super Bowl era to go consecutive games without a punt, along with the 2021 Bills and the 2004 Steelers and 2003 Colts in the playoffs. None of the other teams were able to do it in 3 straight. It's just been impressive the way that this offense has functioned. Dan, what did you like last night from the rookie quarterback?
How fast can you play? Twitchy body and twitchy mind out of Jayden Daniels. You do that, you're going to play at a high level in this league for a very long time. I don't care what defense you're playing against. 2 safeties initially, and he's going to have a quick little motion. As that motion goes, he's going to pull that safety, a backside post. But this is a 12 to 14-yard throw. Look at the clock and how quickly this ball gets out of his hands. 1, 2, 3. 2 seconds to throw a backside post. That is seeing it quickly and letting it go quickly. Now you're going to get another motion. They're in 13 personnel, 1 back, 3 tight ends. And they're trying to flood the boundary, the top side of the screen. Jayden Daniels has to get through 4 people option-wise and find a check down, number 5, Zach Ertz. To find a check down, because all 4 of those guys are covered. A 5th option in 3 seconds in this league is playing incredibly quick mentally. And then later on in that football game, another example of how quickly this ball is getting out. You have a 4-man side again, a 4-man surface flood. Under 3 seconds to throw another intermediate route. You talk about a twitchy mind. That's why Jayden Daniels was ready to go into the NFL and play at a high level, and why he had the coming out game last night on Monday Night Football.
I'm going to give you your flowers here in a second, but I love everything you said about his processing and his decision making. Because even when you go back to the preseason, right, and this is what I want everybody at home to understand. Preseason NFL football is not NFL football. It is closer to college than it is regular season NFL play. So what you're looking at when you're looking at a quarterback who is a rookie or anybody in the preseason, you want to see them process and operate the offense efficiently. When you watch Jayden Daniels in the preseason, you saw a skill set that was going to translate when it was real. And you saw it last night. Now, Dan had Jayden Daniels as his number 1 quarterback for a number of reasons.
There we go.
And I got to give him his flowers here because he was absolutely right. Decision-making, ball placement is what he said.
Yeah.
That's not accuracy. Accuracy is throwing to the receiver. Ball placement is throwing away from the defense.
Put it on a T-shirt, Hawk.
That was a second window slant.
I love that.
Number 3. Next was deep ball accuracy. You got quarters coverage. You get the corner thinking it's an out-breaking route. Look at the ball placement. You talked about it in the highlight.
Yep.
Bottom of the numbers, away from the safety, away from the corner. And lastly, pocket toughness, right? Are you going to stand in there and make the right throw when it's necessary? It's a 3rd down for the game with somebody in front of you, unblocked, that you know is about to punch you in the face, and you deliver that ball. That's special, and that's why last night was his coming out party.
Yeah. It was truly remarkable. Some people are trying to blame the Cincinnati Bengals defense and all of that. And you can see what's making Jayden Daniels so special. And first off, he's 7.5 yards per drop back this season, 6th in the NFL. I mean, that's pretty remarkable as a rookie. Orlovsky picking him to go, to being the best quarterback is just, has been spot on so far, obviously. And again, though, his processing speed, the way how he's not only processing and anticipating, it's been spectacular. It really, really is. And it's that's what it now seems like what Cliff Kingsbury was doing. They were like, let's take advantage of your ability to see the field, to process very quick, to move quick, to get the ball out quick. We're just going to get this going, get you comfortable, stack completions, get the offense feeling like we're doing something as well as the defense, right? Feeling like we have something going. Compare that to what's been happening with kind of like Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos and Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. And it's been not that, right? I mean, it hasn't. I'm not going to say that it's been real awful necessary for the other teams. That's not really, the purpose of that statement. It's more to be like what they're doing with Jayden right now is truly building the foundation, right? A foundational game plan off of his true expertise of what makes Jayden Daniels special. Because quite frankly, I think his processing and his anticipation is way more special than just his legs. Right now, you add the legs on top of it, it's like, oh my God, we got something here, right? We got something big time. And of course, he's going to miss some throws, right? And Troy Aikman pointed that out throughout the game, saying like, oh, he missed this guy, he missed that guy. Troy Aikman was definitely not shy about putting that, and I'm happy he did, quite frankly, because you can't really always see it on the screen, right? You then have to go back and watch the all 22 and all of that. So it was good to see Troy Aikman talk about it, but then also be like, that's what's just going to happen. Those are the things that you need to work on. He's a rookie. He's going to miss certain things. And just think about how great he's been so far. And like, this is just the worst that he is right now, right? Like, he has time to continue to develop and grow. He's going to get better. He's going to process quicker. He's going to anticipate better. He's going to be able to make better pre-snap reads. Like, he's going to just be better with time. I mean, to me, that's just such a wild prospect when you think about it, quite frankly. I mean, it's just crazy. It really, really is. The future is so bright for the Commanders with Jayden Daniels. And the also thing that's going to be really interesting now is this next game. They play the Arizona Cardinals. And you better believe that Cliff Kingsbury, he does not like the Arizona Cardinals. That team broke him to the point where he went to like Thailand or something, or I forget exactly where, but somewhere. A one-way ticket. I mean, it just broke him. I mean, he gave everything he could to the Arizona Cardinals, doing everything he could. Kyler Murray was just brutal to work with him. Showed his own level of immaturity, his own inability to learn and grow as a quarterback within what Cliff Kingsbury can obviously do. There wasn't that trust there. And then Kyler Murray going down at multiple times while Cliff was there, and then other injuries. He had him dealing with like a backup of a backup of a backup quarterback, just decimated with injuries. And then they want to blame him. He has to take the heat for that, right? Like that's on him. And it's like, that's such nonsense. The GM has to step down because of personal issues, unfortunately. And just like, it was just such a mess, right? And again, to use him. And then the new GM comes in and is like, this is a new reign. We're expecting better things. Like the way how that GM spoke was almost kind of like just trying to like throw more shade at Cliff Kingsbury. Not necessarily overtly, but not in a way that I felt was quite frankly productive or necessary at this point. And then Kyler Murray even then stepping up and being like, yeah, this is the way how it's supposed to be, right? And it's like, okay, Kyler, okay. You've been injured. You've had your problems. Like, let's not act like you weren't a part of why the Arizona Cardinals were unable to achieve what a lot of people thought they were going to be able to do with you. And now you're going to get this game, right? With Cliff Kingsbury, with his new hot shot rookie, Dan Quinn's defense. I don't know if they're going to win because the Arizona Cardinals are a good team, right? I think they are a pretty good team. They're better than I think a lot of people originally anticipated them to be. Kyler Murray is a he's a spectrum quarterback is what I like to refer to him as. He can either be a good quarterback or he can be an elite quarterback. And he hasn't really shown me where he's going to stay. What is his default going to be? He will most likely float around, but he's in his prime right now, and that team should be getting better as well. But hey, a lot of people thought that the Bengals were gonna, really own the Commanders, and they obviously did not. So I think there's a lot at stake for this game in terms of pride and reputation. I think Cliff Kingsbury knows it. Dan Quinn is going to know it for his guy, Cliff. Jayden Daniels is going to know it for his guy, Cliff Kingsbury, as well. The team as a whole, right? I imagine it's going to be this is not going to be exactly the same because it's not the playoffs and it's not as emotional or as connected, but similar experience as Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions playing the Rams and all of that. And there was like a lot of emotion, a lot of excitement behind that. And again, it's obviously not going to be as intense as that and as meaningful, but I think make no mistake about it. When you're an athlete, even when you were a kid, right? When you were like 9, 10, 11, 12 playing games, like you always wanted to beat your friends. You always wanted to beat the team that didn't want you, the coach that didn't want you, or whatever it may be. You just wanted it, and you wanted it since you were little, and that does not go away. It just does not. I think sometimes they try to blow it out of proportion via the media, but this situation I think is going to be interesting, and you better believe that Cliff Kingsbury is going to try to be like, yep, this is what this looks like. This is how I run an offense. This is what I can do. Let's go. Come see me right now. Let's go. Right? And I just think it's going to be very exciting. Like, my eyes are going to be glued to the screen for this game. I will be watching this live. A lot of times I watch multiple games at once. Especially the earlier games. I'll watch, like, usually 3 games is like the most I can actually seriously watch at the same time and actually feel like I'm digesting and understanding what's going on. And then I'll usually watch 1 game at 4. And then I have the NFL Plus or whatever. Then I go watch those replays of all those games. This game I feel like I may just actually watch standalone, just locked in. I want to see every minute of this. I want to see how the momentum's going, the conversation that the commentators are having. The fans, the intensity of it. They're coming off such a high with this win, and Jayden Daniels obviously especially, and Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn. I think the team as a whole is just starting to buy into all the messaging. A win like this, what a win like this does with the Bengals, against the Bengals, is you have coaches constantly feeding, right, all these narratives, all these stories, all their views, opinions, insights, little quotes, right? Coaches always notoriously have their quotes, and you're believing it and you're buying into it as a player, right? But until you really see it work, you're not ever fully bought in. You can try your best to buy in, right? But like, until you really see it work, even if you get to a coach who you know is amazing, who you know is great, right? Even if you're like a new guy to the Patriots organization and Bill Belichick, like, you're still going to be slightly skeptical, right? Slightly skeptical until you are truly part of that positive experience, right? Until you truly see yourself getting better, your team getting better, you winning, whatever it may be. You have to really experience it. That game against the Bengals is the game that now everyone in that locker room is like, this is what coach was saying. This is what Cliff was saying. This is what Quinn was saying. This is what, any of the other, position coaches and any of the other guys in the locker room were saying. Like, I get it. This is what they were talking about in the meeting rooms. This is what they were talking about, at dinner, at lunch, whatever, right? In the morning, in the training room. Like, it starts to connect. You're like, you start to see it now. You're like, okay, I got it. They were telling me to be patient. They were telling me to be this. They were telling me to do that. And I get it now. Like, I see it working. And that's a lot of times when we talk about momentum and culture in a locker room and good vibes, like, that's a huge part of it. It's a massive, massive, massive part of it. And it's why losing, right, ends up fracturing a lot of teams, because it's like, you're buying into what the coaches are saying, and the team as a whole may be saying, whether it be individual leaders or whoever, and you're losing. And now you start to doubt what your coaches are saying to you. You're like, you're telling us that we have a chance as long as we do X, Y, and Z, we're going to win, and we're not. So, like, how am I don't know what to do now with this, right? And you're talking about especially a young locker room, right? When you have a lot of young guys, they're going to be naturally skeptical, or you have veterans who have maybe been part of winning cultures before, and they're already kind of like, I don't know, man, this is a little bit different than what I've been doing in the past, and what I did in the past was win, and now I don't know what you're doing. Like, it's you get a lot of mixing of cultures and stuff, right? Messages from previous coaches, college coaches, high school coaches even. And so when a win with the Bengals, against the Bengals, is something that now really starts to unify. You really start, that's just a huge win. Monday Night Football, on the road, fans going insane. You start to think to yourselves, we can do this. We can do this. I trust my players. I trust the coaches. I trust the game plan. I trust that it's not going to be easy, but I have that trust, and you have that appreciation. And this is also where you start to build love, quite frankly. You start to build love for the coaches, love for your teammates, love for just the collective, personality of the locker room. You see this a lot. You see this more after a team celebrates after they win or something, or they win a playoff game or whatever. And you can see this a little bit more in other sports, because there's more of a celebration because it's a series. So like with each round, you see like a little bit more of a celebration. You can see how connected a team is. You see this a lot, especially in baseball and basketball, that you don't always get to see as much in football until like they actually officially win a Super Bowl or something, or maybe an NFC or AFC championship game. But you start to get a feeling of like of family, right? And it's just so important, right? You look at all these teams that start to really feel connected, it really becomes a family. They really feel truly connected, and it becomes its own breathing family dynamic. And that's what a win like this on the road does. If they lost, it still would have been character building. It still would have been exciting. It still would have been like, hey, we were close. We got there. We feel good what we're building. We're not there yet. But this just expedites it. This just turbocharges it, right? This speeds up the process because it's very similar to what the Packers were kind of experiencing and achieving last year, right? When it was kind of like, who are we going to be? What's happening? Or even the Texans and CJ Stroud. It was like, yeah, I believe we're going to be a lot better of a team than we were in years past. Let's see how this goes. We're going to have some ups and downs, yada, yada, yada. And then you start to win. Then you have a couple big wins. And then you just all start to buy into it. I buy in Jordan Love. I buy into Matt LaFleur. I buy into Miko. I buy into CJ Stroud, to Bobby Slowick. Like, right? There's just that buy-in and that family. And that's when the culture gets solidified. And that's why I'm just so excited about this. And so you get another big win against the Cardinals. Redemption for your guy, for your family member, for Cliff Kingsbury. Whew. I mean, you're just talking about stacking dynamite on dynamite on dynamite on dynamite. I mean, this will just be ready to explode in all the good ways, quite frankly. And it gives you more of a cushion now to experience any of the adversity, to take a bad loss and have those big wins to fall back on, right? That's what also a win against the Bengals has done as well. You can now get beat pretty bad, but you still now have the belief of like, we can do this. We got this. Even that stressful win near the end of the game against the Bengals gives this whole team experience now of what to do moving forward when things start to feel like they're getting a little bit claustrophobic, right? Like that's how that game even felt for me as a fan watching this game in the final few minutes. And it was just like, okay, right, Jayden takes a sack. There's a penalty. The crowd's going insane. The Bengals kind of recaptured momentum. And it started to feel like, all right, this team might collapse here. And it's okay. They're young. It's a rookie quarterback. And then they succeeded. And it's just like they now have that experience to build off of, that trust to build off of, the play calling to continue to build trust, right? They know what they can expect now. And that just makes this team a very, very dangerous and exciting team to watch. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jayden Daniels, very quick success with the Washington Commanders and what they can do moving forward? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.